All right, back again for another deep dive. And this time we're heading over to India.
Oh, very
We're
cool.
going to be lacing up, hitting the ground running with Campus Activewear.
Awesome.
I think of them as India's Nike.
Yeah.
You sent over their financials, some investor presentations.
Yeah.
So let's see what we can find out about this company.
They're really interesting, fascinating. They're not just sort of keeping pace with the Indian sportswear market. They're really kind of setting the trends there.
Really setting the trends. Okay, so first, can you just paint us a picture of Campus Activewear? How big are they in India?
I mean, they're the leader, the undisputed leader, yeah, holding that #1 spot in the market. Sports and athleisure footwear, it's massive scale. We're talking annual assembly capacity, 35.7 million pairs, through a mix of in-house and outsourced manufacturing. And then, get this, they've got a retail network, over 23,000 retailers, spread across more than 650 cities in India.
Wow, so they're everywhere, and they're cranking out shoes.
Mm.
The report shows some pretty eye-popping numbers. Revenue in Q2 FY25 hit 333.3 crore rupees,
Huge.
which is a jump out almost 29% year over year.
Yeah.
That's huge.
It is, and you know what? It's largely fueled by volume. They sold 5.4 million pairs that quarter alone, which is up 36.3% year over year. But it's interesting because the average selling price actually dipped a little bit.
So more shoes, but maybe people are going for the cheaper models or something like that. So still though, profits went through the roof, 67% jump in EBITDA, and Pat skyrocketed over 4,100%.
Wow.
I mean, come on.
Well, and for people not fluent in finances, EBITDA is earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization, and that just gives us a snapshot of core profitability from their operations. And Pat, profit after tax, that's the pure profit, the bottom line. And these numbers tell us that they're not just selling more, but they're doing it more efficiently and profitably.
Yeah, okay, so that's all the good news, right? But there's a slight twist here. Quarter over quarter, both revenue and profitability dipped a bit. So what's the takeaway from that contrast?
Yeah. I mean, it's a valid question. It could be seasonal. Maybe Q2 is typically a little slower period, but it could also be a really early sign of market saturation. So I think we need to watch the next couple of quarters to understand the trend.
Okay, all right, noted. But one thing that really struck me was their heavy focus on direct-to-consumer or D2C channels. They're really pushing hard online, through their own stores.
Yeah.
What's the deal with that?
Yeah, absolutely. D2C contributed almost half of their Q2 revenue. They dominate e-commerce giants like Flipkart, Myntra, even Nykaa. Plus, they're really aggressively expanding their network of exclusive brand outlets, EBOs, to strengthen their offline D2C presence.
So why is this so important? I mean, this D2C focus, why is it so important in the Indian market specifically?
Well, in India, there's a growing preference for branded products, especially in sportswear. So, by controlling their own distribution, Campus ensures a consistent brand experience. They're able to build stronger customer relationships and ultimately capture a larger slice of those profits. They're not just selling shoes, they're selling this Campus's lifestyle.
That makes sense. But it seems like they're not content with just footwear.
Yeah.
They've mentioned plans to expand to allied product categories.
Right.
What could that be? What could that look like for them?
Yeah, I think apparel, gym bags, maybe even specialized sports equipment. They really seem to be aiming to create that complete campus ecosystem. I think the potential is huge, tapping into their existing customer base and leveraging their brand recognition to become a one-stop shop for the active Indian consumer.
Yeah. That's a pretty bold move. Of course, diversification comes with its own set of challenges.
Absolutely, yeah. They have to carefully choose categories that align with their brand image, manage potentially, more complex supply chain, and then make sure they're not spreading themselves too thin. So it is that high risk, high reward play.
High risk, high reward. Speaking of playing big, they just approved a pretty major capacity expansion, new facility in Haridwar, and a boost at their existing Ginnar plant. How does that tie into their overall ambitions?
They're clearly gearing up for even more growth. I mean, they're already producing, an incredible amount of shoes annually, but this expansion is going to boost that number significantly. It's like they're sending a signal that they're really anticipating future demand, and they're going to be prepared to meet it head on. Plus, by scaling up, they can potentially reduce their cost per pair and boost profitability.
So they're building for the future, and it seems they're doing it while keeping innovation and design front and center.
Oh, yeah, definitely. They've got a dedicated in-house design team 40 people,
Hmm.
and they work with global design consultants. And what's impressive is the turnaround time. 120 to 180 days from concept to launch. That's agility. You rarely see that in footwear.
Yeah, it's almost like they're operating at the speed of fast fashion, but for shoes.
Mm.
And their marketing is, it's just as dynamic. You see expansive TV campaigns, strong social media engagement, extensive out-of-home advertising. I mean, they're blanketing India with this campus brand.
Yeah, and it's more than just about pushing product. I think what they're doing is they're building a community,
Hmm.
engaging with young, active Indians who see campuses as more than just a brand of shoes. It's an aspirational lifestyle. It's not just about putting on a pair of shoes. It's about buying into a whole vibe,
Yes.
a sense of aspiration. And that really resonates with young Indians.
Yeah. Now, before we get into the competitive landscape, I did want to point out something else that I noticed. Um, there have been some interesting leadership changes. Gaurav Sharma, who was formerly the head of marketing, is now the chief marketing officer. And Prerna Agarwal's role has been kind of expanded. And her title is now chief innovation officer instead of chief marketing officer.
That's a great observation. I think these changes could signal a shift in priorities for the company. Elevating marketing leadership suggests a continued focus on brand building and customer acquisition, while creating this chief innovation officer role. I mean, that speaks volumes about their commitment to staying ahead of the curve, especially as they venture into those new product categories we talked about.
It's like they're doubling down on what's already made
Mm.
them successful, right?
Mhm.
Which is, a great brand and a constant stream of fresh ideas.
Totally. They're not just reacting to market trends, they're actively trying to shape them.
So let's zoom out for a second here. What's the overall outlook for the Indian footwear and sportswear industry? I mean, what are the key factors driving this growth?
I mean, the industry's booming, especially the sports and athleisure segment,
Yeah.
which is projected to grow at just a phenomenal rate. There's a few key factors driving this. First, rising disposable incomes. That just means more Indians can afford to invest in sportswear and footwear.
Right. It makes sense. As people have more money, they can prioritize things like, fitness and personal style.
Exactly. Second, there's a growing awareness of the importance of a healthy and active lifestyle, and that's fueled by social media, celebrity endorsements, even government initiatives promoting fitness.
So it's not just about looking good, it's about feeling good too, right? And being a part of this active lifestyle movement.
Exactly. And then third, like we mentioned before, that growing preference for branded products. Consumers are willing to pay a premium for quality, for durability, for that aspirational value. That comes with a brand like Campus.
So they're perfectly positioned to ride this wave of growth. They've got what this market wants, but they're not alone, right? I mean, what's the competitive landscape look like?
It's crowded. The Indian footwear market is crowded with domestic and international players, all vying for market share. You've got homegrown giants like Bata and Relaxo who've been around for decades. And then the global titans, Adidas, Puma, of course, Nike, all trying to capture a slice of this rapidly growing pie.
So in this crowded market, I mean, how does Campus stand out? What are their key advantages over the competition?
I think their biggest asset is their deep understanding of the Indian consumer. They know what styles, prices, and features appeal to their target market. They've also built this distribution network that reaches even the smallest towns and cities. They're not trying to be a global brand. They're laser focused on being the brand for India.
It's that hyperlocal strategy that really sets them apart, right? They're not just selling shoes, they're selling a connection to Indian identity and aspiration.
Absolutely. And they've done an incredible job of building a brand that embodies that. Their marketing, as we discussed, fantastic. They've positioned themselves as the go-to brand for stylish, high-quality sportswear at accessible prices.
And let's not forget their manufacturing prowess too, right?
Mm.
I mean, their vertically integrated model gives them incredible control over their supply chain, allowing them to maintain quality, keep costs down,
Yep.
and get products to market quickly.
It's a powerful combination. They have the brand recognition, the distribution network, the design capabilities, and the manufacturing efficiency to stay ahead of the game.
But the competition isn't standing still, right? I mean, Bata, for example, has been aggressively modernizing their brand image and expanding their online presence. And the international players are constantly innovating, bringing in new technologies and designs from their global operations.
Yeah, I mean, it's a dynamic market. And Campus can't afford to become complacent. They need to keep pushing boundaries, expanding their reach, and staying laser focused on the evolving needs of the Indian consumer.
So they've got their work cut out for them. But based on what we've seen so far, they seem well equipped to handle the challenges ahead.
They've built a solid foundation for success, and they're clearly in growth mode. The question is, can they maintain this momentum?
That's the million-dollar question, and one we'll have to explore further as we continue our deep dive into campus activewear.
Oh, they definitely have the ambition. I mean, just look at their recent moves, the capacity expansion, the leadership changes. They're in it for the long haul.
Yeah, and we didn't really talk about this, but their commitment to sustainability and social responsibility, that's becoming more and more important, right, to consumers, especially younger generations.
Oh, absolutely. Especially in a market as young as India. People want to support brands that are aligned with their values. It's interesting, though, the sources that you provided, they didn't really dive into specifics about Campus Activewear's sustainability initiatives. So it's definitely something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, so we've covered a lot: financials, growth strategies, industry outlook, the competitive landscape.
Yeah.
What stands out to you as kind of the most significant takeaway?
I think it's this perfect storm of factors that have really set them up for success. You've got, local expertise, a deep understanding of their target market, this commitment to innovation, and a super efficient manufacturing operation. It's a potent recipe, especially in a market that's primed for growth.
They've kind of cracked the code, haven't they?
Yeah.
For success in the Indian sportswear market.
Yeah, I mean, in many ways they have, but, the real test is whether they can maintain that edge as the market evolves.
Yeah.
And as competition intensifies. That's where this commitment to innovation and agility will be crucial.
Right, because even though they're at the top of their game right now, standing still is basically moving backwards and in such a fast-moving industry.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when you have players like Bata, upping their game. With a modern brand image and a stronger online presence, and then you've got those international giants that are bringing in their global expertise and resources. So Campus can't afford to rest on its laurels.
So, I mean, it makes you wonder, what would it take for them to go from being, the Nike of India to a globally recognized brand?
Right, that's the question, isn't it? Could they leverage this success in India to expand into other markets? Or will they double down on their hyper-local strategy and become an even more dominant force within India? It's going to be fascinating to see how they play their hand.
So speaking of playing their hand, we haven't really talked a lot about their marketing strategies. What makes them so effective?
I think their marketing goes beyond just, simply selling products. They're tapping into a cultural shift in India where fitness and an active lifestyle are increasingly aspirational. Their campaigns really resonate with young people who see campus as this symbol of progress, of ambition, and a modern Indian identity.
It's almost like they're selling a lifestyle, an attitude, not just shoes.
Exactly. They're creating a sense of community around their brand. If you look at their social media, it's not just about product promotions. It's about celebrating achievements, showcasing stories of everyday athletes, encouraging people to embrace an active lifestyle. They're creating a movement.
And that's smart, right? Because as the market matures, consumers are going to be looking for more than just a good product. They're going to want to connect with brands that share their values, their aspirations.
Exactly. And that's where Campus Activewear's focus on building a strong brand identity and a community could give them a significant advantage, even against, these deep-pocketed international competitors. I mean, they've tapped into something really powerful, a sense of national pride, a desire for a healthier lifestyle, and the aspirations of a young, a dynamic population.
Yeah. It's really exciting to think about the possibilities. I mean, where could this momentum take them? Will they become this global powerhouse? Will they revolutionize the sportswear industry with their unique approach?
Yeah, these are great questions. The story of Campus Activewear, it's really a testament to the power of understanding your audience, embracing innovation and building a brand that resonates on this deeper level. It's a story that's just beginning to unfold, and it leaves us with a lot to think about.
It really does. So as our listener, sort of contemplates Campus Activewear's future, what final thought-provoking question could we leave them with?
Given their remarkable performance, their ambitious expansion plans, and their unwavering focus on innovation, What might their future hold? Could they become this global brand, inspiring a new generation of athletes and redefining what it means to be an active Indian? I mean, the possibilities are truly exciting, and the journey is just beginning.
It's like we're watching a sports movie unfold,
Yeah.
in real time, except, this is about business and sneakers
Right.
and the aspirations of a nation.
I love that. It's a great analogy.
Yeah.
And it's a reminder that business, it's not just about the numbers and the spreadsheets. It's about people and their passions and their dreams. And
Yeah.
and sometimes a company comes along that really captures the spirit of a moment, a generation.
And it seems like Campus has done just that. They've managed to kind of bottle that energy, that optimism, the ambition
Yeah.
of a rising India.
And what's even more impressive is that they've managed to do it while staying true to their roots, focusing on the Indian consumer and building a brand that really resonates deeply with their values and aspirations.
Yeah. Well, we've definitely given our listener a lot to think about today. Hopefully they're feeling as inspired as we are by Campus Activewear's journey.
Absolutely. And remember, this is just the starting point. There's a whole world of information out there waiting to be explored.
So keep digging, keep questioning,
Yeah.
keep that curiosity burning. That's the fuel that drives us forward, helps us connect the dots, and maybe even spot the next Campus Activewear before everybody else. Until next time, happy exploring.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it really is kind of like watching a sports movie, right? Except, instead of like athletes, it's about sneakers and
Yeah.
and business and the aspirations of a whole country.
I love that analogy. It's really good, and it reminds me, business isn't just numbers and spreadsheets. It's about people, right?
Huh?
And their passions and their dreams.
Hmm.
And sometimes a company comes along that just really captures the spirit of a moment, of a generation. Yeah. And it seems like Campus has really done that.
Yeah.
They've managed to bottle the energy and the optimism, the ambition of,
Yeah.
a rising India.
Yeah, yeah, and I think what's even more impressive is they've done it while staying true to their roots, right? Like focusing on the Indian consumer
Hmm.
and building a brand that really resonates deeply with their values and their
Yes.
aspirations.
Yeah. Well, I think we've given our listeners a lot to think about today. Hopefully they're feeling as inspired as we are by Campus Activewear's story.
Absolutely, and remember, this is really just the starting point. There's a whole world of information out there waiting to be explored.
So keep digging,
Mhm.
keep questioning, keep that curiosity burning, right? I mean, that's what drives us forward. That's how we connect the dots. And, maybe even spot the next Campus Activewear before everybody else does. Until next time, happy exploring